There's a very real reason that change can feel so exhausting, and I'm not just talking emotionally. Often, when we're in a season of growth, it affects not only our minds, but our physical bodies too. If you've been feeling exhausted or drained or generally overwhelmed with life recently, I want you to pause for a moment with me and take a deep breath and let it go. Now, I've got some good news for you. What you're going through is perfectly normal and to be expected. Today, I'm going to talk to you about why personal growth can feel so physically exhausting and ways that you can ease your mind and body as you step into this new version of yourself. Hey guys, it's Gata and welcome back to my channel. This is my happy little corner of the internet where I like to sit down and share with you guys some of the truths that I've learned along the way that have helped me to create a life that I truly love, because I want you to do the same. I think everyone deserves access to this kind of information. So if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, please consider hanging out for a little bit, maybe subscribing, leaving a comment. I'd love to have you. When we're feeling tired and run down, it's so easy to assume that something must be going wrong. Maybe you've recognized there's some area of your life that needs to change. Your beliefs about yourself, bad habits, relationships that are no longer serving you. And so you start slowly making changes to step into a life that feels better. But instead of feeling relief, the discomfort intensifies. And that's incredibly frustrating. These feelings can make you want to throw your hands up and shout to the universe, I'm trying here. I'm really trying. Why does this feel so hard? This is often a signal that your body is functioning exactly the way it was designed to. What you're probably experiencing in this moment is something called nervous system misalignment. Let me explain. Your nervous system is made up of your brain, your spinal cord, and billions of nerve cells all throughout your body that are constantly collecting information about your environment. Your nervous system's job is simple, but incredibly important. Every experience you've ever had gets filtered through this system. Everything you've ever experienced, everything you've ever felt, and everything you've survived gets logged away in your brain. And your brain uses that information to decide what's safe for you to experience and what's not. Let me give you a real life example of this that I experienced just a few days ago. Recently, I've been bringing my toddler into the kitchen with me because she's shown an interest in cooking and I love spending that kind of time with her. But something I've been trying to get her to understand for a while now is that we don't touch the hot stove. I have said this to her ad nauseum. I really can't count how many times. But one day she got extra curious and maybe a little too brave. And she went ahead and touched the hot burner when it was on. And let me tell you, there were tears. There was a giant blister on her little finger. And even though it broke my heart as a mom to see her experiencing this and living in this pain, those 30 seconds by the stove taught her more than I had in her entire 2 years of life. From that one experience, her brain filed away some really important information. Hot stove equals danger. Hot stove equals hurt. That's how learning works, and that's how growth happens. Your nervous system's primary function is to keep you safe. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're walking down the sidewalk enjoying a beautiful day outside, and you turn a corner and all of a sudden a bicyclist is heading straight towards you. Your nervous system perceives that dangerous situation before you can even think about it. Your heart starts racing, your adrenaline spikes, your hands get shaky, and your brain signals to your body as quickly as possible to move out of the way, get out of danger. Once the bike passes, your body starts to settle down again. Your heart rate slows down, you're able to steady yourself and feel calm knowing that you're safe and secure. That was your nervous system doing its job perfectly. Now imagine that loop happening all the time, not just with physical danger, but with our identities as well. Nervous system misalignment happens when your inner identity has already shifted, but your body hasn't caught up yet. Your mind may know that you're changing, but your nervous system is operating off of old definitions of what safety really means. Let's take public speaking, for example, because it's something that I know a lot of people can struggle with feeling safety around. If you've had one negative experience standing up in front of people and performing for them, that teaches your brain something really important. This situation is not safe for me. In the future, I need to avoid this because it's dangerous. That means that years after that first painful experience performing in front of others, your nervous system may still be reacting like it did in that moment. Your adrenaline starts spiking, your heart's racing, your palms get sweaty, you can't form a coherent sentence. Even if that situation isn't dangerous to you anymore, your nervous system is working overtime to keep you safe. Now, here's a key I really want you to understand. When growth asks us to shift and become someone new, what it's really asking is for our nervous systems to learn a new definition of safety. That takes energy, and that's why this feels so exhausting to your physical body. Look, the truth is we can't override our nervous systems. What we can do is gently teach them that new experiences, or even experiences that have been difficult for us in the past, are safe for us to have now. This is something that I've experienced in my own life. During my last few years of college, I had a couple of situations happening in my personal life that made everything else feel overwhelming, to be frank. I was depressed. I was exhausted, both physically and mentally, and I really was just lost. I didn't know my place in the world, and I had no idea where I was going. I recognized that my life wasn't going down a path that I wanted to, and so I started trying to make changes to make things better. I assumed that once I started doing all of the right things, the prayer, the meditation, the therapy, taking better care of my body, that I would immediately start feeling better, and it would alleviate this discomfort that I was feeling within myself. But it didn't. What I didn't fully grasp that time was this. I hadn't arrived in this hole of a low place overnight, and so it was going to take me longer than overnight to slowly climb out of it. And that's when it started to click with me that your nervous system isn't a light switch that you just turn on and off. It's a dimmer switch. You can't flip from darkness to lightness in an instant. It just doesn't work that way. You have to slowly and gently turn that light on. And that process isn't always perfect. Some days the light barely turns on at all. Some days maybe it flickers. But if you show up consistently, I promise you that it will get brighter. And that's what healing growth actually looks like. Now, one trap that I did fall into during those college years that I would love to help you avoid if possible is rushing this process. Time takes time. I thought that staying busy and keeping my mind off of my discomfort would help. So I filled my schedule up completely. Leadership roles, social plans, constant stimulation from others. I didn't recognize at the time that what I was really doing was avoiding these discomforts. Eventually, I ended up burning myself out completely, and I made my circumstances way worse than they were when I started. What I want you to hear is that growth isn't about doing more. It's about doing what your nervous system actually has the capacity to hold on to in this moment. So if you've come to one of these places where you're feeling burnt out and exhausted, pause for a moment and ask yourself, do I really need expansion right now? Or do I need a rest? Turning the dimmer switch on too fast isn't going to help. It'll just flood the system. So how do we support ourselves while we're becoming someone new? First, recognize your triggers. You can't work on the things that you don't acknowledge are there, and you can't fix what you don't acknowledge is a problem. Taking some quiet time to yourself to journal, to pray, to meditate can help you become aware of those situations and circumstances that make your nervous system feel unsafe. And acknowledging that is the first step toward moving through it. Secondly, you can give yourself a life preserver. I like using some sort of short phrase or mantra that I can cling on to in those moments when I feel like I'm drowning. This should be something simple, something that you can remember easily and come back to anytime you need. For me, during that period of overwhelm in college, a simple life preserver line that I used pretty frequently was, "My life is getting better every day. I'm safe and supported and seeking a better life for myself." It felt kind of silly at first, I'm not gonna lie. But repetition is what teaches your nervous system safety. What you repeatedly experience is what's internalized. And that brings me to consistency. Your nervous system learns through repetition, not pressure. So start off by choosing just one area to work on, one belief that you hold, one situation that feels unsafe, one part of your identity that you know needs to shift. Any more than that can feel overwhelming. Please hear me when I say you are much better off giving 100% of your attention and devotion to one area of your life than 25% of your attention to 4 different areas of your life. Slow and steady really does win the race here. And the final thing that I want you to keep in mind as you work toward a better life is don't flood your system. When you learn all this information, it can feel really exciting. Like, finally, I have the answers I've been looking for. I know what I need to do. Let's dive in and fix everything. But remember that it's still really important that you go easy on yourself as you slowly start transitioning into this new era of your life. If you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed or manically excited, your nervous system is still dysregulated. Now, don't get me wrong. A regulated nervous system should not feel numb, flat, or emotionless. What it is about is feeling grounded, steady in your own self and identity, and most importantly, outfitted with the ability to respond with intention instead of reacting from old patterns. So remember to adjust that dimmer switch gently and with care. So much of our nervous system's blueprint is shaped before we ever have a say in the matter. Our childhood, lived experiences, and past traumas are all puzzle pieces that build this bigger picture. The beautiful part about that, though, is that your blueprint isn't fixed. It's living, which means it can change, it can grow, and it can evolve with you. And the fact is, it will grow, it will change, and it will evolve. The question's no longer if you'll change, it's how will you do it? Will you rush yourself? Will you meet yourself with patience? You are strong, you are capable, and you are allowed to go at a pace that feels safe and secure for you. And it all starts by gently turning up the light. If you're still here right now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really love getting to sit down and share some of these thoughts with you guys. If you're in the middle of becoming someone new, I hope that this video was a gentle reminder that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you if you're feeling discomfort during this season of growth. I'd love to hear what it is that this season has been teaching you as you've grown and changed into a new version of yourself. Please feel free to share it in the comments below if you feel called to do so. Thank you guys so much again for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you next time. Bye.